houses. And I stayed in touch with him. And I just sold his one cabin up near Big Bear. And now he wants me to sell his duplex in Culver City. So we're working to get the pictures set up for July, and it's going to hit the market. 2-bedroom unit in the front, 2-bedroom unit in the back. We're going to list it around 1.7, a little over 1.7 million. In a great street in Culver City. And he's got his house in Culver City that he wants me to sell sometime later next year. All from an open house.
I love it. That is that's a win for the week. That is so cool. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. We have fabulous Michele Brown. Good morning. Before I introduce you group to the phenomenal Michele Brown, just want to kind of give you a little bit about her background. You know, Michele has a little over, and I'm going to be just a little sugarcoated a little bit. With over 25 years of experience, she has developed the real estate professional team back in 2006 to provide a unique, creative environment where talent agents are able to thrive and realize exceptional results for her clients. Results that are accomplished by providing a safe, collaborative environment in which agents learn to share their skills required to maintain a high level of real estate consultants in practice. Michele and the real estate team, remarkable talent agents, have been awarded the gold medal as top producers. Michele has served as the president of the South Bay Association of Realtors back in 2015. After having served as the board of directors for 4 years, she also served as the California Apartment Association of Realtors as a director and was awarded the Realtor of the Year in 2012. The team owns many national recognized designations, such as Certified REO, Short Sale Specialist, Director of KW Commercial, Distressed Property Specialty, Certified Luxury Agents, and the Senior Real Estate Specialty designation as well. She has earned these designations, demonstrating that not just herself and her team has the knowledge, the expertise, and is there to serve her clients with exceptional results. So without further ado, Michele Brown, welcome. Thank you so much. I think you're on mute.
Is that better?
Much better. We can hear you.
People love when I'm on mute, by the way. So, yeah, I have a win for this morning. I'm here. So,
yes. Tell us where you're at.
I'm in American Airlines Admirals Club in Terminal 4 at LAX because I have a flight to Dallas this weekend. My youngest niece is turning 16, so there's a surprise birthday party, sweet 16 party for her, and then on to our farm in Louisiana for our family reunion. But my flight's not until 10:30, okay. So I scheduled to be here at 6:30 this morning so that I could get all checked in and get up to the Admirals Club and have a little breakfast and set up my laptop. And in El Segundo, there was a lot of traffic. I'm looking down at my phone because I'm emailing and texting. And because my other win is we're opening another escrow today. Thank you, God, keep it coming. So yes. All of a sudden there's this boom and we're rear-ended. The Uber was rear-ended. And I'm like, are we going to have to like wait here, or can we just keep going? And so we're there for 30 minutes waiting for police and driver's license and all that. And then another Uber came. And so I got to the airport an hour later than I thought I would, and then ran to get to the Admirals Club. And then I got here and set up my laptop at 2 minutes till 8 o'clock. And I can't connect to the Wi-Fi, so I'm on my cell phone. The free LAX Wi-Fi isn't working, so I'm on my phone. Good morning, you guys. Hi. So that's my win. I'm here. Yay.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Even the challenges, obstacles that we sometimes face, somehow we press forward and continue. So again, thank you, Michele. I know you have a very tight schedule going on today, but I really, really appreciate you coming in
Wouldn't
and
miss it.
and talking to the group. We have phenomenal agents on this call. And just tell us a little bit of you, what got you into real estate and ultimately climb the ladder of where you're at now.
Okay. Well, Simon was gracious, you guys, with his introduction to say we have more than 25 years in the business. This is actually my 42nd year in the last 28 years have been here in Los Angeles, primarily. We work all over California, but I started my career in Dallas, Texas. When I was out of college, I had a nursing degree, and I worked for a couple of years in pediatrics at St. Paul Hospital in Dallas. And my husband at the time was an air traffic controller, and he worked rotating shifts, and it was hard in those days with daycare from the midnight to 7 in the morning shift. So when I had our second child, I decided not to go back into nursing. A friend of mine was actually working in property management and suggested that I might like that. So I took a job managing an apartment community, and that lasted about a year. And then I was promoted to an assistant property supervisor. And then another year I was promoted to a property supervisor. And then another year I was promoted to a supervisor of several properties. And that sparked my love for a different level, a different kind of real estate. My mom worked a little bit in real estate, not a lot, but a little, and it's kind of just been a family thing. But when I got into the property management and saw the bigger level and the larger communities and the higher commissions, then I really got interested in learning more about commercial real estate. So I grew through that organization, that company, and met a client that ended up in my relocating to Southern California to help them build their property management business and their assets. And then after, let's see, I've been at KW for almost 17 years, I think. So about 18 years ago, I was single all that time, a single mom. My kids were then in college, and I met a guy who moved here from Texas. And at that point, I was managing 15,000 units. And my territory was from Oxnard over to Tehachapi, if anybody even knows where that is, down to Victorville, Hesperia, and across North Orange County and up the coast. So I managed 15,000 units. I had 5 supervisors that reported directly to me and 220 employees that reported to them. And my job was to manage the client, manage the properties were owned. The smallest property I had was 40 units in Orange. The largest property I had was 1,282 units that actually was owned. Those units were in Dallas. It was one property, 1,282 apartments in Dallas. But I had that account because that owner had a lot of properties in California that I managed for. So our Dallas division didn't take that. I took that. So the clientele, my job was to manage the people who owned the properties. And some of those were pension funds, some of those were institutions, retirement plans, financial advisors, insurance companies, and some of those were private owners, retired physicians, or REITs. And I helped them choose which assets they were going to hold on to, which ones they wanted to improve, which ones they wanted to sell so they could move up. All of that stuff is it was exhausting. So when I met Jim and my kids were kind of graduating from college, except for the youngest, he was still there. And I decided that I was going to downsize my business and do maybe some residential real estate as well. I had a lot of friends in the South Bay that were in residential real estate. And I had the discipline from being business development was part of my job in the commercial world. So I had the discipline to know how to build a clientele and build relationships and all of that. I just had to learn there's a gap. There's a huge difference in the way a commercial transaction works and the way a residential transaction works. But my sister, who was in Dallas, suggested that I look at Keller Williams because they did allow commercial and residential, which a lot of agencies don't allow you to do both. And at that time, Gary was just starting to relaunch with Joe Keller, the commercial side. So, so I went as a loan agent, and building my relationships and building my business and calling my clients and letting them know that I had made the change. And about a year into that, I couldn't stand it. I had to start building a team because I was just used to more activity. So we grew the team. There were 12. We don't have that many now, but we'll recover this year. But we grew the team to 12. And actually, Simon said we won gold medals. We've won gold every year for the last 15 years. And the last 3, not this past year, but 3 years before that, it was platinum and double platinum for production. And we're looking forward to getting back to that. So that's a little bit about how I got from there to here. So what else can I tell you?
That's awesome. So talk to us a little bit, because I know a lot of us do eventually want to transition from being a solo agent and ultimately grow a team. You know, what was that like, and what ultimately was the that launch that said, you know, I think this is the time that I want to start branding myself and ultimately start bringing, you know, the talent into my team?
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective for me, because we grew that organically. It grew organically, and that's a good thing, and that's the bad thing. If I had known, you know, 15 years ago what I know now, I still love that it grew organically, just like our business did. I do understand that a lot of it was from the relationships that we had and from the lead generating and the business building that we were doing on a consistent basis to touch everyone that we knew and remind them that we're here for them and what our talents and skills are. And so we grew organically to that, because a lot of agents are attracted to that kind of support. And especially if you're new in the business, it gives you some confidence to have 40 years of experience behind you. But if I had to do it over again, I would have also incorporated a more aggressive kind of recruiting activity to that as well, so that we had a bigger team that would have been more sustainable, and we could have managed to the attrition of that. We have a policy on our team that once you join the team, our goal is to launch you into your own team in 4 or 5 years, if that's what you want to do. We want to help you get there and help you see the growth benefits of staying with KW through doing that. If you decide that a team, as far as other agents and the camaraderie and the support of that, is not where you want to be, that you'd like to be a solo agent with an assistant, we support that too, because every client is different, and every client is looking for a different type of agent to work with and a different type of structure, right? So if they decide that they want to be an independent agent, you know, with an assistant, we help them grow into that too. But by that point, they have the confidence to know how to do that, and that you'll always have a team that is a transaction coordinator and a couple of lenders and your team leader at the office. You know, that's your real team. The support system and the administrative stuff to do the things so that you can do what you do best, which is build relationships and help clients achieve what they want to and their objectives for their real estate. So we on our team, everyone that's on the team attends all the training that the office provides. I encourage them to be very active in the Association of Realtors. I from day one, but I grew up volunteering my time and working with a lot of different, from high school on, you know, working with a lot of different organizations. And so I have an innate understanding of the value of that. And when I was president of the Association of Realtors, we were supposed to, every month when there's an orientation of all the new agents at the board, back in the day when we all met in person, there's 100 agents, 75 to 100 agents in one room once a month that are new to the business. They may not be new to getting their license, or they might be. They may be transitioning from a different area to a new association, but there's 75 to 100 agents in that room. And the president is supposed to address them and introduce who the speakers are going to be for that day and kind of get them familiar with how to volunteer and participate in the committees at the association. And the one thing that I always told everyone in that room is to look next to you and the table in front of you, the table behind you, get to know everybody that you run into in the restroom, at the coffee, and sitting next to you, get to know those agents, because there's nothing more valuable when you're in escrow than to have a relationship with the agent that's representing the other side. There's nothing more valuable than that. And we are not each other's competition. We are not. We have enough competition out there with the internet and the discount brokers. We are there to support our clients to have as seamless a transaction as possible, and to facilitate that transaction. And as I open the conversation today with, we're opening another escrow today, and I'm thrilled. This is the third one in the last 12 months with one of the same agents that I know, who I keep trying to bring onto our team because he's been all over the map. He's now on his third agency, but he is a pro, and I know. And when we're looking at 5 offers and I'm talking to my seller and they're trying to decide which offer they want, and I can tell them, I know this agent really well. And I can tell you that this is going to be a smooth and seamless transaction. And I'm not picking any of these for you. And there's 2 agents in the 5 that I would recommend using. But it just kind of helps when you have that relationship. And you can pick up the phone and talk to somebody and not have to second guess, and be as honest as you can about how things are going to proceed and what each side needs. And it's invaluable. And so that's what we incorporate onto our team, is to have relationships with agents in our office, with agents throughout the South Bay, attend the association events, get involved in some committees, and understand how to give back to the industry that's giving so much to us. Because what outside of everybody knows how to facilitate a real estate transaction, or they think that they do. By the time they graduate from real estate school and get their license, they know what they think they're supposed to know about how many square feet are, in an acre and all of that stuff. But what we teach is the wow factor, and we teach how to build your sphere of influence and build a referral base. And we do that because everyone on our team is passionate about the industry. We love real estate and we love people, and we are learning based, and we never go into a conversation and we never go into an appointment with an intent to pressure them into selling their house or pressure them into buying the house that we're looking at. We go into the relationship to educate and to bring them on board as a friend and a confidant, and to say to them, especially right now, we're seeing some notices of default coming up, and to be able to look at a homeowner and say, the sheriff is not going to come lock you out tomorrow, and selling your home may not be in your best interest right now. And those people stay in our sphere of influence for 6 months to a year to 2 years. I talked to a woman yesterday I've known for 6 years, and she called me yesterday and said, I'm thinking that I want to retire and sell my house and figure out what my options are. And so we set up an appointment to meet for next week to do that. And it's going to be probably 6 months before she sells. But as much as you have the come list me calls, which are great, and we love those, it's all about the wow factor in delivering a high level of service and a high level of confidence to everybody that you meet, everyone that you meet. Don't be a secret agent. Don't be a secret agent, and deliver a wow factor. That's what we do.
I love it. One thing that I know about you, Michele, is you're like an ambassador of South Bay. You're well respected. You're well known. You're like the mayor of Torrance. And, you said something that really resonates with me, is the mere fact it's all about the connections. And, I preach that with any topics that I are, conducting or teaching, the importance of connections, because you just never know when your next deal is going to be. And if you have those connections, then ultimately it gives you a better perspective to connect and at least, hey, I know Michele Brown. Hey, I know Simon, and it'll give you at least one foot in to really get that offer accepted. It's the people you surround yourself. And the importance of being involved in so many different organizations is a key component that a lot of agents unfortunately do not take advantage of it. Like you mentioned, the South Bay Association of Realtors, the Los Angeles Association, or whatever association that you belong to, get involved, get connected, volunteer. That's opportunities, open doors that will eventually, maybe you don't see it immediately, but you'll see it eventually. And, to get from that point, as you mentioned, volunteer and then become the president of our association. And I remember I was there.
You were there. You were there. So it again, those things happen organically, and
Yes.
they can be a rabbit hole. You can get sucked into. And I served on the board of directors for the California Association of Realtors for a couple of years too. But that is all about time blocking and knowing, is this a money-making activity? And sometimes those activities don't look like a money-making activity, but in the end they are, because what we bring to our clients is that we know the industry. And if there's something that's changing, like right now and everything is, if there's something that we don't know, we know who knows. And I can pick up the phone, call that person, and I don't have to wait 2 or 3 days for a call back, because I may be calling them to invite them out for a margarita, right? They don't know, but they do know me. And so they're going to call me back sooner than later, or a text. And so if we don't have that information offhand, and we're very learning based, we're always renewing our certifications and staying on top of the market. And so that we bring that to our clients. And I was interviewed on a radio show not too long ago, and the MC asked me kind of the same question, Simon. And I said to them, if I could summarize it this way, you want to be everybody has a little black book in their head. They have a CPA they can call and probably get 10 or 15 minutes of free advice from. They know a couple of lawyers from a networking group or something they could call and get a little free advice from, or get a referral from. They know a doctor, they know a dentist, they know a pediatrician, they know a massage therapist, they know somebody. They have their little book that they can call and get 5 minutes of free advice or a referral to someone that better suits their needs. Not very many people have a realtor in their little black book. And we can provide roofers and gardeners and architects and mortgage companies, and our black book is expansive. And we work on growing that relationship, and all of that breeds referrals, because all of those people know how connected we are. And when I was a small child, many years ago, and my dad used to say, it is not so much what you know. And my dad was very learning based. My dad I was the oldest of 6 children. And when we were 12 years old on our 12th birthday, that was our day with Dad. We went to the library to get our library card, and he gave us our own copy of Think and Grow Rich, right? Mine is still on my nightstand. I have one that's readable, and I have the one Daddy gave me that's kind of falling apart. But so he was very learning based, but he always said, it's not as much what you know as who you know. And I was a little put off by that as a child, because I thought he was being arrogant, and my dad was not the least bit. But I'm like, what? That sounds like you're kind of social climbing or whatever, like who you know is not. But what he meant is who you know, right? That you can get information from, or that is a resource to you, or that can partner with you when you need some help. And so that's the beauty of growing the team and growing all of our relationships, is there's not anything we can't do, because we know very well what we can't do, and where to draw that line, and when to cross over and call another professional or get a referral or something. So it's a rhythm, it's a science, it's not perfect. And I'm learning to be a little less organic and relying on some of that, and to force myself to be more involved in that 2 or 3 hours a day of calling all those people, because that is part of your lead gen, right?
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you, Michele. Just a couple more questions. I'm really surprised it's already 8:26. So
oh my God,
it went super quick. If an agent wants to tap into, because you specialize on 2 things, commercial and commercial and luxury.
Right.
Someone that wants to tap into a luxury, what would you tell that individual agent?
Assuming that they live in the South Bay, you're already in a luxury market. So just get very, very observant. Go to as many open houses as you can now that they're back, especially, but even on the MLS, you can preview properties and not really have to go. But the difference in seeing something online and then viewing it in person is huge. So you're already a luxury agent in a luxury market. you're just still in your caterpillar stage maybe. And so you need to blossom into the butterfly, and that's through knowledge. So that when you walk into a 2 or 3 or 8 or $10 million home and you see that $26,000 Italian stove, you're not like, oh my God, look at that. What is that? You know what they are. So when you go to an open house, and it's great camaraderie, it's great fraternity to see other agents there and give everybody hugs now, and to be in awe of the view or in awe of the architecture, but make notes. We used to do that on Caravan all the time. What kind of stove is it? Write down the brand name. What kind of refrigerator? Get a note of the appliances and look those up when you get home. Architectural features, so that you have the knowledge of you're already a luxury agent and you're living in a luxury market. So just build your sphere, as we say, go where they go, right? Go to networking events, go to car shows, go to high-end events, go to charity events, and build relationships with the people that live in the neighborhood where you want to work.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and it's so simple if you already tapped into the community that has high price point homes. But as you mentioned, Michele, it's very important, right, is to understand the dynamics of what the appliances are, because when you speak that language, it resonates and you come across as a very knowledgeable expert in that line of luxury real estate. Because I know there's a lot of agents, well, I want to tap into luxury. What do I do? Well, you know what? Educate yourself, right? We all start somewhere, and it's the key component is learning base, educational base, and go on as many and research, right? Go into the MLS and research a lot of these high-end properties and see what the description, so that way you get attuned to those conversations when you are going on a listing appointment on that $10+ million home. So
yeah and call me, call the luxury agents in the office and just ask if they have if they allow a shadow. If you want to go on, it's hard to take a shadow on a listing appointment. I know we're out of time, Simon, but it's hard to take a shadow on a listing appointment. That's not sometimes a very confidential meeting, especially with profile clients, because we have to be very discreet and not reveal sometimes who our clients are. But if there's a group going on a luxury home tour, go and listen to what they're saying and the conversations that they're having, and you'll learn as a bad agent as you will a good one, right?
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm gonna open it up to anyone that has any direct, specific questions to Michele. This is a great opportunity to get a question and an answer. Anyone?
Yes. So Michele, this is Monty from Calabasas, and the question I have is that I know that you balance luxury and commercial. How do you do that? Like, what's the best way to balance that? I've been trying to do that, and people are saying, you got to focus on one or the other, right?
Yeah. Well, it's as Gary Keller says, it's kind of a counterbalance, right? And it took me a while to understand that myself. I had a client several years ago who was looking for a home on the avenues in Redondo Beach. And he called on a listing that I had, and I was working with him, met his son. He was a single father. I met his son a couple of times, both very high profile in their separate industries. We found a home. Actually, he found a home in Hermosa Beach. And as we were getting ready to close on it, I had tried to reach him for a couple of days and had trouble reaching him. And then when he called me back to set up all this information on the closing, he said, I'm really sorry. I was with Quinn for 2 days because we were closing on the studio that he bought in Marina Del Rey. And I said, I didn't know Quinn was looking for a studio. I could have helped him. He said, no. He commercial space. He does the cartooning. It was important in the day. I forgot what it was called, but he had just been hired by some studios in Culver City to be a creative artist, but he needed his own. So they bought a $4 million commercial building in Marina Del Rey because he didn't know that I did commercial. He was looking for a house with me in the beach cities, and I didn't bring up that we do both, and we're highly specialized in both industries. And so it's the balance is in that knowing that you can. Real estate is real estate. Be careful what you practice if you don't have experience in it, but to let your clients know that you do both, and to lead generate to both, and build your business as you can. It's like kind of like a physician that's a general practitioner. And when you need the specialist, you know where to go, right? Like I don't do industrial. I don't do properties that need phase 1 or phase 2 environmentals. I refer those out to those specialists because I don't have an expertise in what to look for in those areas. We do specifically multifamily and office, and then a luxury real estate. So to find the balance is kind of a mindset, to know that really you don't have to find the balance, and don't listen to anyone that's trying to contain you and put you in the box. You practice real estate in the state of California, and just learn them both and do them well. And I'm fortunate that I do have another commercial guy on our team who's also an appraiser. And so we get each other's back all the time. And then I have, a couple of luxury agents on the team that, so I don't have to do it all the time by myself. We have specialists there, and you can build to that, and you can find someone if you have a weak spot, and we all have our weak points that can help fill that gap. Don't be greedy, be willing to share a commission 50-50 or take a 30% referral fee to turn it over. Don't be greedy while you're learning. And once you have that rhythm, Monty, you'll understand it. You'll understand it perfectly. Don't give up. You can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. The way I see it is that it's people behind these transactions, and the same people, if you're calling luxury, they probably are doing commercial too. In terms of investors, right? Yeah.
I have a doctor that just bought a $4 million house in Palos Verdes, and he's looking for a clinic, a medical practice. So, it's the same dynamic, and usually it's the same client, and you already have their trust. So, but you need to let them know that you specialize in the other entity as well. Otherwise, they're going to go buy a $4 million building in Marina Del Rey and not let you know about it. So, hope that helps.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have another question for you, Michele. As part of your team, how many different roles are within the team? Are they all agents, or are they all focused on selling?
They're not all agents. We work with Chris So as our transaction coordinator. She's like the best in the business. And then we have Gabriella, who's our executive administrator, who kind of runs the office, runs the team, does the marketing, all of that stuff. And then Jennifer is our lead listing agent with myself in luxury, and Mark Kern is our commercial guy with me on the commercial side. And they are primarily listing to help with the listings. And then we have a couple of buyers agents that we can call on when we have buyers. So through the pandemic, most buyers had their own agents because of all the COVID compliancy and the PEAD forms, and they wanted to get into places. And we had very few. We had to re-engineer our entire lead generating system during the pandemic because we leveraged the hell out of our open houses. We're listing specialists, and we leveraged open houses to meet people that didn't have agents and needed an agent. And that came to a screeching halt. And then when we were even able to show properties and have open houses by appointment, everyone had an agent. So we had to rethink how we met people and connected and leveraged our lead gen to meet new people. And I forgot what your question was, Simon. What was that? Yeah. So how
the question,
yeah.
I think you answered the question. Basically, part of your team.
We focus on
what are the different roles, which you clarified, and then our team members are also selling. So you clarified that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have for one more. If anyone would like to ask Michele before we cut loose for the day. Anyone else?
All right. Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun, and I'm just grateful I got here. So if there's anything that we can do, any questions we can answer, you guys all know where to find us. It's just Google. Michele has 1 L. Just Google it. You'll find me. Call me anytime.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Michele, thank you so much. Safe travels. And thanks again for being and participating and always being a resource for all of us. So have a phenomenal day, and thanks again, Michele. All right, everyone. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Now let's go out and lead prospects. So thank you, everyone. Have a phenomenal Friday and a phenomenal weekend. Thanks again.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
That take credit cards. Learn more at discover.com/.